Tails form the outposts, yeah. Yep. Okay. We're still going to need some kind of... Could be, yeah. Keep the danger away from people. We're still going to need some kind of a sledgehammer, or if we ever get electricity in the house, possibly a brick cutter to get through here. Because this wood borer is not... It wouldn't work anyway, probably, because it's for wood, not for concrete or stone or anything. But I tried this. That didn't work. That, he said, would take forever, and it's true. You need like a sledgehammer or something. And that's pretty much it. I already used this to get this wallpaper out, but you can't use it any further. Tearing the wallpaper any further wouldn't have got me anywhere. I'd already seen enough. Yeah. So, nothing for now. Nothing more that's going to do. And like I said, most likely, even though it's storming out right now, at some point, we'll get outside because there are other buildings and stuff. So I assume we're going to get outside at some point. When we do, if we can get into a place like... Well, the greenhouse probably not, but there's like a tool shed or whatever, or some kind of a... like a mechanic room or tool room or something. Anyway, if we can get there, then that could potentially have something we could use, like a sledgehammer, maybe. So now it's noon, right? Yeah. Phone's still out, I assume, but let's try it. Yeah. Okay. So it's been out ever since our call first thing in the morning with Jerry. Oh, you know what? I don't know that we'll use it for that, but maybe we'll be able to. Now that we have some, we don't have a lot, of course, obviously, but now that we have some oil in our lantern, maybe we can see some of the dark hidden spots in the attic we weren't able to see before. Let's try that and see if we get anything more. I'm not banking on this working, but you never know. See, we pulled the handle on the right, but it opened to the left. That's what I'm saying, where it's a little bit... It's not the end of the world. It's still a really good game, but just a little glitch there. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Maybe this first? Oh, it didn't have any oil in it? Oh, we used it up already. What? But he said we doused the lantern to save the oil. If it doesn't have any oil in it, then what the frick? Okay. And I think we're done with that can we used. I don't think we're going to get any more oil out of it at all. I think we emptied it. We'll try it again, but I'm pretty sure it's a no-go now. Yeah, no more oil left in the can. That's what I thought. Well, that's kind of poop. I thought we had a little bit more oil. Apparently, the answer is negatory infinity over. Okay. Let me think. Down in the basement, I already tried this on the bottom lid, the metal doors or whatever that presumably lead lower. And I was not able to lift those up currently. I also tried to use the oil can and potentially this or whatever to turn the wheel, and that didn't work. We've now, FYI, because you weren't here during this part, Monmouth, so just so that you could see, I did end up figuring out that that one bar that I had in my inventory was a small bar. I kept thinking it was like a big piece of rebar or something. I didn't realize it was this small. So I got that and then put the lid that I found in the other paint room on top. So we've got the burner set up, but I don't know what we would want to burn yet. So there is that, though. There could be something more in here, possibly, I suppose. Or one of these kinds of rooms. Not holding my breath, but it's possible. Can't even access that. If we zoom in, we get the edge of the saw, so we can't even access that. These, he just says, no, it's a bunch of junk. Can't go down far enough or get close enough to examine them, so obviously that means you can't use them. Yeah, or something like a pick, right? Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Sledgehammer, a pick, possibly, like I said, if you get electricity going, possibly some kind of an electric, like a brick cutter. Like a what do you call it? A stone saw you could use, right? That's a possibility as well. I actually use those, well, not every year, but when I'm able, so I occasionally go down when we're not in pandemic and stuff, of course, also. I will occasionally go down to Mexico and help them build houses, kind of like Habitat for Humanity, but in Mexico. And so when I'm down there, because the houses we build are constructed out of these type of cinder blocks, like here. And we take them, we use mortar, we offset them, of course, and we use mortar in between them on the sides and on top and bottom to build the levels. And then once we get it high enough and the mortar's set, then we pour concrete down the center, like where the holes are, of the blocks so that they solidify the walls, right? Well, anyway, because we're doing a lot with cement blocks like that, I cut the blocks a lot of times, right? So that's the kind of thing. I don't remember what you call it. Like, I think it's like a stone cutter. Anyway, I use that. Stone cutter, brick cutter, something. I don't remember the exact name. Anyway, I use that, though, that saw. I guess it's we don't say cutter. You call it a saw. It's I think it's a stone saw. Masonry saw. Yeah, that's what it'd be. Masonry saw. Yeah, and I am a carpentry guy, not a masonry guy, so I'm less familiar with names of things in masonry. But yeah, so masonry saw is what it's called. That sounds right. Anyway, so if we had electricity in the house here in Scratches, then I could potentially use that to cut the bricks or something, because that's what it's for, specifically, is to cut bricks and or stone. Not huge blocks of stone, but it's used to kind of finely cut the edging. Like if you're going to do landscaping or something, you could cut stone that way and make it kind of nice. Anyway, why did it come back in here? I don't know. There's nothing in here I want right now. Yeah, that's definitely a skill. If you want to learn how to write stories, that's a skill you have to learn over time. I'm, as you probably have seen, a relatively verbose person. Maybe not oppressively so, but at least somewhat verbose. And so I will write a story that I'm working on or whatever initially, and then I'll have to edit that thing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times before I feel like it's not too wordy. And then, of course, as I'm editing, I might think of additional details. So then I write new paragraphs that didn't exist, and then I have to edit that as well. So, thespian, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose. We've already looked at all of these drawers like a billion times, right? Yeah, there's nothing in here. Okay. I couldn't remember if there were any cans lying around in the bathroom, like on the floor. I mean, I try to be. Obviously, like I said, it takes a lot of editing and re-editing for me to get something where I feel like it's readable. Just because the nature of me and realizing that that's not necessarily appealing to those who are just trying to read a story. So I'll go back and I'll edit again and again and again. All he said previously about this was just there were dishes for cooking or whatever, right? Yeah, utensils in the house ready to be used. And we never did open any of these. No handle on this? No. I don't believe we ever found anything useful in here either. And all that's up here are foodstuffs, either spices or like you see tea or flour or sugar. And then, I don't know, did we ever find out what's in these bottles? Odd shaped things like this. Jars and cans adored in the kitchen. Just some random jar. Doesn't tell me what's in them, so I guess nothing important. Well, see, it doesn't drive me crazy. I usually don't notice I'm doing it if it's something that happens while I'm speaking. And if I'm writing, like I said, I just have developed the habit of going back and reworking it over and over. So it does not end up being something I have a hard time dealing with because I know I'm going to have to go back and redo anyway. Don't know why I would have expected that to change, but since random stuff suddenly works or doesn't work, or there's scratching noises going on in this house, I figured it's worth a try just in case. See, he says just uninteresting boxes, so I can't do anything for those for fuel. Okay, that's just wood over there. So I guess this way, if anything. None of those. I suppose, strictly speaking, well, let me think. How does a lantern work like that? No. Maybe. You might be able to use alcohol, some kind of spirits in your lantern. That might work. Suppose we could always try that. Like I said, I can't access any of the cans down here. So even if some of these might have been fuel, they're not usable for me in game terms. Yeah, I can't drain cover. Yeah, I can't lift this at present. I tried, like I said, the hammer, because you've got the claw, so you can hook it under, but that doesn't work. I don't think I have anything else. Doesn't need to be oiled. And since it's a magnifying glass, I need a tool or else I can't do anything with this. This I cannot turn on my own. I already tried this and it says it doesn't need to be oiled. And I tried this and it doesn't work. Says, nice idea, but it didn't have enough surface to hit. And I don't know what else. Tried this. No, it's not useful. Tried this. And I hurt myself, potentially, apparently. So I need something to either... Well, I don't think it's even either. I think, basically, I need something to jam in here that will stick out somewhat. Maybe a wrench or something, but something that will stick out somewhat. And then I can use the hammer and try to nudge the wrench along and get that to turn this. But I don't have a wrench at present, so that is not yet an option. For all the menacing it talks about in the basement, that back room behind the masks that had that one solitary mask seems much worse than this room. I'm sure that will change over the course of the game, but I'm just saying right now, the basement seems less of a threat than that room with the mask in the back of it. Still don't want to go outside, I presume. The rain hasn't let up, so I can't see a reason why that would have changed. Even though the back room is a dark room, I don't believe there was anything back there I'd use for fuel. Not paint thinner or anything similar. Phone's dead right now, yeah. I heard from Jerry in the morning. He gave me the combination to the safe, the wall safe, in the master bedroom. And out of that, I got two things. I got a key, which went in the lock of the door. So remember the door where I put the newspaper under and the key on the other side fell, and it was like, oh, now that never works, and now I can't get in? Well, there in the safe was a key to that same door, so I was able to get inside. That's why I was in the painting room now. And then the other thing in there was the page, which I don't remember what it described now, but it was information, it was details. See, like I said, I didn't think there was any, even though this was used as a dark room, it's pretty much, well, just the water and then the film that was developed. There's nothing like paint thinner. We wouldn't be paint thinner. What is it? It's film developer, I think is what it's called. It's the liquid they use. They have two trays. They have one tray. They have like the developer film or whatever. They take the film and they kind of dip it or run it through that. Then they take the other tray in the water and they kind of set it in the water and let it. Then it will slowly develop over time. Oh, okay. Let's see. So I was looking for maybe the developer liquid, the film developer, because I believe that's flammable, but I don't know that we can actually use that. So for the lantern, yeah, could be used as a catalyst. Yeah. Well, and I don't know how quickly it burns. It's possible if it burns not terribly fast, you could use it for a temporary fuel for your lantern. Obviously, that's non-standard. I don't know how safe that would be either. I would imagine it would be somewhat dangerous unless you knew what you were doing. It's like if you have kerosene, right? And then you have like propane. You're not going to want to put the propane in a kerosene lantern. I mean, okay, propane's a gas. You know what I mean, though. Like, okay, what's a good liquid? Okay, gasoline, let's say. You don't want to put gasoline in a kerosene lantern. That won't work well, right? You want to use the fuel that it's designed to use. Because a lot of the things, like the feed, how quickly the fuel is fed to the flame, to keep the light going is calculated based on the speed at which the fuel burns. If you have something like gasoline that burns much more rapidly than something like kerosene, it's a problem. Or, let me think actually. I think actually kerosene burns faster. Gasoline, if you have like a pool of gasoline, you light a match on one end, it does, it's not, that's the one thing for explosions and stuff in Hollywood that's not fake. If you have a pool of gasoline, you light it in, the flame will kind of, you'll be able to follow it eating its way across the pool of gasoline. If you have something like kerosene, it'll do the same, but it's much faster. Gasoline is kind of like, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but gasoline's kind of like this rate, and kerosene is kind of like this rate. So the dispensing of the fuel would not be fast enough, I think, if you did something like gasoline for it to still burn. I think it would suffocate. The flame would suffocate. Okay, so I have this. JB. I'm guessing you can't do this, but we could try. Lamp didn't have any oil in it. Oh. So that's for further analysis? Oh, so okay. So this is in the future. This is another, apparently, place I can examine more closely with a lit lantern. Don't expect there to be any fuel in here. But I'm trying to see if something else sparks another idea along the lines of something else I might want to do. I'm not really getting an idea. I already tried, I'll do it again just to show you, but I already tried the oil on here. Doesn't need to be oiled. I did the hammer on here. It was pointless. So at present, we can't open this drawer. Maybe at some point going forward, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe, but that's true. It is noon now. It is a couple hours later. I had tried, but you'd think going from like 9 a.m. to noon, you'd think it'd be warmer outside, not colder. Although it is a storm, so maybe the storm has made it colder. But generally, you'd think it'd be a little bit warmer toward noon than it would be earlier in the morning. And I did try lighting it earlier, and he said he wasn't really wanting to because it was already warm. It wasn't super cold, so he's like he was wanting to save the matches he had, but we could try it. That it was nice. It wasn't really cold. Wasn't that cold really? Prefer to save the few matches I had left. Yeah. So unfortunately, not right now. Yeah. Oh, are you saying like maybe the hammer here or something? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. This is where we heard the scratching noises. And I use the stethoscope again just to be sure. And it says it doesn't hear anything out of the ordinary now. Yeah. It's all gibberish to me. don't think there's anything here that's going to help me. Why would you put oil on it? Obviously don't use keys with music. Hammer is probably dumb. Newspaper, probably not. This is possibly a pen, but I don't know why you would use it. Didn't have a need to write on that. Yeah, I would say the same thing for the pencil, I'm sure. Why would he... He's going to hurt himself, yeah. Why would you want to use that, right? And then more keys. The rag, probably not. Not sure. So nothing with this right now either, I think. Always wanted to be a penis, eventually found another use for my fingers. I could try writing. I'm guessing he's going to say no, but we could try going upstairs and see if we can write again. Like, see if he's in the mood now. Doesn't hurt to try. Okay. Didn't feel like working yet. Well, poopy. I don't really see a point to anything else, trying anything else on that. I already looked again. I'll look again, but we've already looked in this medical bag again. We got out of here the stethoscope, and other than that, I think we just have these anatomical drawings, which, you know, are whatever. Doesn't want to sleep. Never fancied naps. Right, but we don't want to take that. So this is just a clue saying that he's getting the drumming noise. He's getting louder for him. All we have left in here is his book, which you can't open. You can just read the cover and then the back cover. And the letter that Jerry wrote him initially, telling him how he found this place. Jerry's card for phone number. And then his notebook that has Barbara's phone number. And that's pretty much everything that's left in his bag. So nothing else currently useful. You fancy naps? I kind of fall into naps. I don't necessarily intend to fall asleep, and I will in the middle of the day sometimes. So I don't really choose naps. I just kind of get naps. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't fancy naps, honestly, generally. I will nap if I'm especially tired, but I don't really seek them out. I'm a really active kind of a person. I'm all like, my brain's always doing things. So I feel like if I take a nap and I don't need to per se, even if I'm a little bit tired, if I don't feel like I need to sleep, I feel like I'm wasting my day. There's other stuff I could be doing. The view is inspiring. Jerry had picked the right room for me. It would be ideal when doing some work. Apparently, except when it's raining and you're too chicken to go outside. It's like, I don't want to stroll in the garden. What? I mean, you didn't bring a coat with you? You're in England, dude. If you didn't bring a coat with you, you're a weirdo. And he says, let's look at the umbrella again. Maybe we repair this at some point? Yes, I could have grabbed the umbrella and gone outside, but after carefully studying the soggy panorama through the windows, I decided not to. Yeah, so it's not even that the umbrella's a problem. He's like, Oh, it's raining. How terrible. It's like, calm down, dude. Just another ordinary vase. Like I said, again, you're in England. You would have. That's like people that move to. Because I'm from the Seattle area. People that move. I don't live there now. It's kind of fortunately, because I'm not, with the pandemic and stuff, I'm not in that area where all that's going on. But I'm originally from near Seattle, like a half an hour south. And we would get people moving into the Seattle area and then like freaking out about how it's always depressing. So I'm like, what did you think the weather was like coming here? Didn't you look up online and see what the weather generally is in the Seattle area? In Seattle? Yeah. Yeah, so in a couple of ways. There are, here and there, occasionally, buildings that were built in the 1800s when people first started settling there, right? So Lewis and Clark did, I don't know how much you know American history, but a couple of explorers, Lewis and Clark, did an expedition. They left from back east, so like the East Coast area, and they blazed across the west, and then they went up to the northwest, and they found that whole Seattle area. No, not that area. So the part that the British originally explored would have been probably from the East Coast, so like Nova Scotia and stuff, over to probably about, I would say maybe the east border of Alberta at the farthest. So about half to 2/3 of the country they had explored by the time Lewis and Clark had gone up there. Mostly because they did fur trapping and stuff. A lot of the French traders and stuff from French Canada. And then also some of the British kind of set up fortresses up in that area as well. Anyway, so Lewis and Clark went up to the northwest, to the Seattle area. They had Saskatchewan and Alberta and British Columbia. I think all of those were discovered later on. They brought Sacagawea with them to help guide them into the northwest because they weren't as familiar with the territory. So she was the daughter of an American Indian chief. So she guided them. Anyway, so they explored that area. Well, so you had some people going to California, right, for gold mining and stuff. If you've ever heard the phrase Miner 49er, that's where that comes from. But then you also had Lewis and Clark heading up to the northwest, approximately around the same time. They were a little bit later, I believe, though. Anyway, to explore that. Well, not long after they explored that, you had people heading out west still. Some still going to California, some going farther north to where Lewis and Clark explored. And so they settled that area. Well, anyway, so Seattle has a long history of being like being known about Americans. Like, Americans have known about Seattle for a long time. So if you're an American, if you're from another country that's different, because maybe you're not as familiar with different areas, right? But if you're an American and paid even a small amount of attention to American history, like, you could have gotten like a D, or like, you know, barely passing grade in history, in American history, and you still would know Seattle is a rainy place. It's just what it's known for. The state of Washington, where Seattle's located, is actually called the Evergreen State because of how much rain there is. So anyway, so I think it's silly. Not to mention, if you were going to move somewhere, wouldn't you at least look up some information about where you're going to move, even if you didn't know ahead of time? But these people come and they like act like it's so terrible that it's all stormy all the time. I'm like, you moved here. You didn't investigate to see what kind of place you were going to be moving into? Okay. If I was going to move to Florida, I'd want to know, oh, there are alligators in Florida. If I was going to move to, you know, Louisiana, I'd want to know, hey, hurricane season. New Orleans is like below sea level, probably going to get flooded, could be a major problem, right? You'd want to know that stuff before moving there. Flannel shirt territory. Yeah, yeah. Seriously. But because I grew up there, I would tend to probably not use flannel shirts as often as people who are from other places, just depending on where you're from. If you're from Canada, probably you would use flannel shirts, or I would use a flannel shirt before you. If you're from somewhere south in the United States, anything basically from about the north part of California, draw a straight line across. Anything from about that level and south, you probably would use a flannel shirt after me or before me because I'm more used to the weather up there. That said, Seattle's not a cold place. Seattle is a moderate temperature because of the Pacific winds coming through. So is British Columbia, actually. Well, not all of British Columbia, but Vancouver. Vancouver's only, what is it? 3 hours north of Seattle, something like that. So it's approximately the same weather as Seattle. Yeah, there are sea otters. Yep. Not super common. You don't really see them on the shoreline generally. I'm trying to think if you go farther south toward, maybe as you go toward the Oregon border, you might see more. No, I expect you'd see them farther north, actually. Yeah, I don't actually know if you... I don't remember seeing sea otters when I was growing up there. Yeah, I don't think so. Honestly. There are whales. You'll see whales occasionally. There are, of course, fish. Crabs. Snails. Sea slugs, which are gross. Yeah, I feel like the sea otters are probably farther north. Probably British Columbia, maybe the Yukon, Alaska, somewhere in there is probably where you'd start seeing sea otters. I think they do come south, but only for part of the year, so you won't see them generally, but it maybe occasionally. They had the Seattle Aquarium there, so there were sea otters at the aquarium. I think if I remember, I think that's where I saw them. I don't think I saw them in nature. But we do have, if you go farther east in Washington State, so you have Seattle and that coastline, then you have a set of mountains called the Cascade Mountains. They're a smaller mountain range. Then you have some distance, then you have the Rocky Mountains starting in like Idaho. So if you go east of the Cascade Mountains, the last like east 2/3 of Washington State, there's more woods and stuff. Well, there's more plains too, but there are a lot of areas of woods there. If you go into some of the more wooded areas near something like the Columbia River or something, or the Snake River, I do believe you will find normal otters there. Not sea otters, but normal, like river otters. I believe you will find some of them there. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know that they can't, but generally sea life, something like whales, probably just doesn't like to get into water it's not used to. Yeah, and beavers. Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah, you start getting a lot more of those in the woodlands of Washington, eastern Washington, getting up into the woodlands of Alberta and British Columbia, and then also moving over into Alaska. Yeah, that's where you start getting all that. Yep. So we had those. And bears. We had black bears and sometimes grizzlies. Not often, but here and there you'd have grizzlies. We had lynxes and mountain lions or cougars. Yep. We had all those things if you're in the wooded areas. Yep. Okay, what am I not thinking to do here that I probably should? I don't think I've discovered what this key goes to, right? Or have I already used it successfully? Yeah, I don't know what this key goes to yet. It might go to something outside. This was the key to that painting room. This was the key to the basement. And this was the key to this whole manor that we're in. But I don't know what this goes to. Like I said, this is probably one of the outside buildings, possibly the church or something, or the chapel. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, yeah. Bears are very large. Yeah. Even a brown bear. So if you're going like small to large, and I'm not going to go through all the bears like koalas and stuff, but if you're going like North American bears, small to large, the sizes are brown bear, black bear, grizzly bear, polar bear. Polar bears are giant. They're bigger than friggin' grizzlies. But because they're polar, they only live up on the ice, generally, like the really, really north reaches of Canada. But then when you get south enough and you stop having polar bears, you start having grizzly bears in the woods and stuff. And the grizzly bears go from there, right around where the trees start. You start getting off the tundra and get into where there are trees and forests. Go from there south to right around the northern parts of America is approximately where grizzlies stop. That said, though, you have the Rocky Mountains. You'll get grizzlies going fairly far south in the Rocky Mountains. But other than the Rocky Mountains themselves, mostly they're Canada and very northern America. And then south of that, you'll have black bears. And then brown bears, I believe, are more like Appalachian mountains. So the eastern set of mountains, you have the East Coast, then you have a small set of mountains before you get to the Great Plains. That's the Appalachians. I believe that's more like the brown bears. I don't know which ones Russian bears are. I feel like Russian bears are probably brown bears and black bears, both of those, but a different variety of those. I don't know if Russian bears actually have grizzlies or Russia actually has grizzlies or not. It might. I've never looked that up. That's interesting. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's anything else over here, but let's... Maybe there's something I'm just not remembering. Let's go through the drawers again. So we got the cigars. Wait, what? I just did that. Am I not doing the bottom drawer? Oh, there we go. Okay, a book. And then the top drawer, just money that we're not going to interact with. And this. Still no. And we can't unlock that, and I've already tried the key on that, and it doesn't work. I already read this journal entry before. His initial interaction with the Dalmar, and then he closes by talking about the mask. And that's, he stole the mask. He was fascinated with it. It disturbed him enough. He was fascinated with it. So then he steals it, brings it back here, and brings a curse to himself. This guy is not the brightest. Well, smart, but he's probably unwise, right? He just like gives into temptation and takes stuff. A journey to the sources of the Nile. Numerous illustrations. The years of the 2 years in East Africa. Yeah. We can't even read or examine these. And then you've got this, which, you know, currently at least I don't know what purpose this has. Yeah. Bears. So there are a couple of things a lot of people don't understand about bears. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we're going, okay. Okay, bloody hell, it seems the electrician. Wait, oh. I had to click again, I guess. I right-clicked, I think. Or no, I did that. Let's do this, okay. Okay, I woke today to a fierce thunderstorm. The rain is heavy and I can hardly make out the garden. I don't recall ever seeing something like this. It looks like I'll be stranded inside the house for the whole day. Also, I had an interesting dream yesterday. Something was luring me to a hidden door in the gallery. I should look into this just in case it's meaningful. Like I thought, neither Jerry nor the electrician will be able to come today. This new turn in my life is getting more and more complicated by the minute. I will survive, but deep inside I'm becoming truly concerned. I've opened the safe. I certainly wasn't expecting a treasure, but its contents were far from spectacular. Just a contract, that's what it was, for the construction of the house and a key. Looks like there's a hidden room on the second level of the house, unless the blueprints are wrong. Can't imagine any reason for it, but it's really there. The hidden room does exist, but I won't be able to get inside through the door. It's been completely bricked off. I have to find another way. Oh, so it's not even... I see. So maybe we're not even supposed to try the bricks. As it turned out, there really was a door behind the exhibitor in the exhibit in the gallery. I probably subconsciously noticed the frame yesterday and then dreamt about it. I can't think of any other reasonable explanation. Well, or you're having cursed dreams. It's not reasonable, though, I suppose. It doesn't follow logic or reason. The hidden door in the gallery led to a small storeroom. There was a strange mask inside and more mementos belonging to James Blackwood. The development of his story is really getting into me now. I can almost feel his suffering, and that mask seems to be the key to the mystery. So I suppose... Yeah, so one thing that a lot of people don't understand about bears is most of the time, bears are not even remotely interested in people. Most of the time. There are some exceptions. Bears are nomadic. Not in huge swaths, generally, but they have a territory. They'll use their big paws and they'll claw trees to mark, this is my territory. So if another bear comes by, they see claw marking, they go, oh, that's somebody else's territory. Maybe I ought to stay away. That's the idea anyway. But they'll mark their territory. Well, if the... Let me go up to the floor plans upstairs. See if I can tell what is directly above and below the room, the hidden room. Maybe I just need to look in the floor or ceiling of one of those two. See if there's something I can pull or open that will let me into that room from below or above if I can't get in through the bricks. So I'm going to go back up here and look at the floor plans. So usually, because bears are somewhat nomadic, when they wander, they're looking for food. Or possibly, if they're young and like they've found themselves wandering away trying to find their own place to live, they might be looking for like a cave or something to hibernate in. Most of the time, though, they're just wandering looking for food. If you're near a river, that would be things like salmon or trout. If you're near a lake, they'll look for some kind of fish. They love fish. I think all bears pretty much love fish. They love berries. So if there are blackberries or raspberries or blueberries, that kind of stuff, even strawberries, although I don't really know if there are a lot of places strawberries grow wild anymore. Probably some places. Anyway, any berries, bears love berries. Love, love, love berries. And bears love honey. So Winnie the Pooh, the idea of Winnie the Pooh isn't far-fetched. Bears actually do love honey. So basically bears love sweet food and they love meat, but only certain kinds of meat. They like fish, like I said. But bears will not attack like rabbits and stuff. Bears don't want to eat rabbits. Not to mention rabbits are really good at, are faster than bears at initially getting away. Like they'll duck under underbrush and stuff. The bears will never find them. Bears don't really care about that. Fish are usually really easy picking, especially trout, because trout will swim down to the ocean in their lifespan. They'll swim down to the ocean and they'll mate down in the ocean, right? And they'll lay their eggs. And then they'll swim upstream as they get older, like toward the end of their life. Well, they talk in Narnia. Yeah, that's true. And so, so the trout, to get it, because they're going upstream, they have to learn how to swim and dive out of the water. you can see in the ocean fish that can dive out of the water occasionally, right? So the trout will jump out of the water, they'll swim really fast, hit the surface and jump, and then they'll make progress. Because the air provides none of the resistance that the river does as the river's flowing down. So they jump out of the river to make progress slowly and steadily upstream. Well, the bear is like, well, if you're just going to jump out of the air, I'll just catch you in my mouth. So they'll eat the fish. So bear love fish that way. Love berries of all kinds. Although if it's a poisonous berry, the bear won't eat it, of course. They can sniff it and tell if it's an okay bear or not. They kind of just naturally can tell that, I guess. Or they're taught. I'm not sure which. Probably just naturally can tell. Anyway, and they love honey. They love sweets, the sweet of honey. So they'll attack like a full hive of bees, whether it's kept by a person or the bees maybe have swarmed into a tree or something. Doesn't matter. The bear won't just go there and go, let me kill all the bees. The bear will just go for the honey. Well, the bees try to protect their hive, so they'll try to sting the bear. Bees only get one sting, and then they die because they have a barbed tail. So as they come out, after they sting, when they try to get away, it pulls out, rips their guts out, basically, and kills the bee. So the bees generally die a lot in the course of that. Well, also the bear, in the process of trying to get to honey, will swat and stuff, getting stuff out of its way to get to the honey. So it might kill bees in the process. But it's not really aggressive to bees. It's just because it doesn't even feel the bee stings, really. It's just trying to get to the honey. Oh, they can. That's what I'm saying. That's normal bear behavior, what I've been describing. But just like any wild animal, if a bear feels threatened, if the bear feels scared, if the bear somehow has gotten angry, then you've got a whole different creature on your hands, right? It's going to go out of its standard behaviors and do what it feels it needs to do to protect itself or to hurt or punish something hurting or punishing it, right? So that is a completely different ballpark. So I would never just walk up to a bear and go, hey, bear, what's up? Because even though they have their normal behaviors, bears do still sometimes get aggressive because of different things that happen, right? Remember, they're animals, so they work on instinct. Well, sometimes, if something happens, it could trigger an instinct. You don't know what's happened to the bear, so you don't know what instinct has been triggered, so it might be aggressive at the moment you encounter it. So still be cautious with bears, but most of the time, bears will not hurt you. Bears will not even approach you most of the time. But you can get on a bear's bad side. Like if a mama bear has her cubs and you're approaching, she doesn't know what you're going to do with her cubs. She's worried because she's in nature. Anything could be a threat to her cubs. So she'll get aggressive with you because she's like, get away from my babies, right? So there are a lot of different reasons. So just be careful. But most of the time you're okay, even if there's a bear locally. That said, if you go camping and you have any kind of food with you, bears wander around looking for food. So if you have food that it might like, if it smells like chocolate bars or something you have, that smells sweet. It likes berries and honey normally. It likes sweet stuff. So it might go for your chocolate. Or if it smells meat in your food bag, it might go for the meat, right? So generally, if you're going to camp, you'll have your camp. You're going to go probably, I'd say, maybe 100 feet away or so at least. Maybe a couple 100 feet away from your camp. And you're going to climb up in a tree or take a rope and throw it over a limb. You're going to tie a rope to your bag of food and tie it to the branch. And you're going to hang it in the air. So the bear, you're going to hang it high enough that hopefully you'll want to know what kind of bears are in the area and how tall they can stand. But if you can get it higher than the bear is, the bear can swat at it, will never get to your food. Now, it might try to shake the tree, so you want to make sure you have a sturdy tree also that's not just going to fall because the bear is getting aggressive with the tree. But bears can't climb trees. They can break trees down, and they can, swat branches and maybe break branches off. But they can't climb trees. Now, something like a cougar, a mountain lion can, but a bear cannot. So, since a bear can't climb a tree, if you can get it up in a tree high enough, and it's a strong enough tree, that bear's not getting your food. And you do it about, like I said, 100 to 200 feet away from your campground, generally, so that if the bear happens to be there, it's not going to wander near you and then potentially get aggressive because it doesn't know what you're going to do, right? You keep it far enough away, or maybe not 100 to 200 feet. I'm thinking actually maybe 100 to 200 yards is probably better. So 100 to 200 meters is probably more like what you'd want. Yeah, because that's 100 feet's only like 30, 32 meters or so. So you don't want, that's not far enough. You want like 100 to 200 meters from your campground. So then as it wanders by, even though you're kind of in the general vicinity, it's not going to feel threatened by you. So if it doesn't get the food, it'll just move on, and it shouldn't ever enter your camp. Just make sure nobody's stupid enough to have like a chocolate bar or a wrapper from a chocolate bar in their tent or something, and you should be fine, generally speaking. There's always a risk whenever you do anything, but you can mitigate that risk, lower that risk considerably, right, if you make wise decisions. And part of that is understanding how an animal behaves, which is why I've been describing how bears typically behave. Growing up, see, I'm from the Seattle area, but this is my life story basically is, in real brief summary, about 5-6 years living in the Seattle area when I was first born and then living there. Then about another 4 or 5 years living on the eastern side of Washington, closer to the Spokane area, but out in the woods. The least populated county within that state. Okay. And then we moved back over to the Seattle area, but we would still go camping often, both through scouts, but then also just general camping with my family. And while we lived on the east side of Washington, also, like I said, we were in the least populated county. We lived out in the woods, so there were forests where there were lynxes and cougars and bears and stuff in the area. So we learned all this stuff growing up so that we would be wise and careful, right? Anyway, so that's why just knowing what you're dealing with in the area where you're going to be is always an important step. And then you can be, like if you're going to go in the jungle, you'd want to know what kind of spiders and snakes and insects and things are going to be in the jungle, right? So, and also cats, depending on what jungle you're in, like a panther or something, right? You want to know all this stuff before you go out there, obviously. So that's the same kind of a thing. Okay, so sorry. I've really been playing the game while we're doing this. It's fine. Okay, so this is the ground floor. So if we go up here, the hallway should be basically, well, the hallway, let me think. The stairs go here. Yeah, so the hallway basically is going to be like this, pretty much. Which means this, where the telephone is directly below. Yeah, this is pretty much the room where the telephone is going to be, down below. Or up above, that is here, approximately. But I don't know that we can really get... Okay, we can try. So let's, alright, and then this. Alright, so we got over here. We can see if there's something we can do down here. We have the bricks. And the boards. Most of the planks scattered throughout the third floor are all dry and brittle by now. Yeah, see, I'm not... Go over here and see if we can angle from a different angle. But I'm not really able to... It is possible some of this room here, like the very far side of this room, might be something we can analyze. I don't think we were able to before, but perhaps as we get closer. Swore that I would scream if I saw another brick. Didn't want to even imagine piles of rubbish that were inside those boxes. Yes, he's not really examining. So maybe downstairs where the phone is. Then. Faster to go this way, don't have all the doors in the way. Don't see anything in the ceiling I can really examine, though. Yeah, I'm not seeing any kind of indication that I can do anything from down here. I would have thought that upper area would have been the more likely candidate anyway, but it's still not looking like it's going to let me. And I already went into the master bedroom and looked along that wall that borders the other room, and I don't see something there either. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just need, even though he describes it as if finding another way in might seem like going from a different angle or something, like a floor or a ceiling to get in. I'm pretty sure we just need something like a pick or something for that. What else? What else? Yeah. I would need a pick or something for that as well, I believe. Oh. I'll try it again. I think I did try that already, but I'll try it again just in case I didn't. I know I thought about it at least, but I think I did already try it. But we'll try. We'll go up and see. So, faux fox, basically what I need. Well, there are a few things where I'm a little bit stuck, and so I need something to move on in a couple of these ways. Wait, if I go up here, I can't go very far over to the side here, can I? No. It doesn't look like it really from here, right? But if you go down, it makes it look like the stairs hang over. But I guess that's just the floor of the room above. Can't do that crack. Yeah, so the one up in the turret that you had mentioned already. The turret, not turret, turret. Sorry. Oh! I thought of it, but I did not do it apparently. Okay, good call. I hadn't realized that I hadn't done it yet. Oh. The wall was already broken. The wall had a wider crack now. Still not sure what I'm going to do with that, though. But I don't know what we do with a crack. So that was a good idea with a hammer. I don't know. What is the point of the wider crack, though? I can't do anything more with it. I'm not sure. Oh, I used the hammer as you suggested. I thought I'd already done it, but I guess I just never ended up actually heading up here to do it. So I used the hammer as you said, and it results in this. The wall has a wider crack now. But I can't do anything else. If I use the hammer again, it says the wall was already broken. I wonder, did it drop something on the ground maybe? No. So it did open it more, but it doesn't really... lend itself to further progress at the moment. I don't see any items I might put in there. Or analyzing it either, right? I suppose we could, if we get more oil, we could use the lantern there, maybe. I don't really see anything else, though, that would make sense to try. Okay, well, we've progressed more on that, so good thought. Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, I used the borer, and it didn't... It said it wasn't useful. So I did this, and then I went like this. It said it wasn't useful. I try... So that's on the crack itself. So if I try over here on the side, also says no, so... Not sure. Maybe we get that sledgehammer or pickaxe or something that we need for the bricks. Maybe at that point we can actually go further. Maybe. You don't have to worry about it, Faux Fox. I stream this for your entertainment. If you want to help, that's fine. Although I appreciate no spoilers, of course. But if you want to help, that's fine. But don't feel like you're required to do anything. I am the one required here to try to present you with some degree of entertainment. You are to consume said entertainment and hopefully enjoy yourself. Still not sure what we're going to put on here. A neat little stove was standing on a plank. Light the stove. Yeah, and see, we don't... This is like oil your hinges, not oil for that. So... Just randomly put paper in there? That's funny. No. Since I had no intention of burning anything just yet, I decided not to waste any matches. Yeah, so at some point we're going to cook something. And I imagine it's going to be, we're going to want a container for whatever. And then we'll put that thing we're going to cook in a container. Put that on top and then we'll light this up, right? That's usually how these stoves, these portable stoves and Bunsen burners and stuff tend to work. Yeah, well, that's okay. Okay. And like I said, nothing in terms of examining the floor in here gives any kind of indication that you might be going down from it. So I do think it's just a pickaxe or whatever from the other. I wonder, maybe the time is advanced again since we broke a little bit of the crack. Possibly. Nope, still 12 noon. Still no phone, I assume. Yep. Okay. So hammer on the crack was useful, but apparently not enough, I guess. There's some light coming in, but I can't... It won't let me try to look in the crack, which is odd. I would think I could at least kind of try to take a peek at what was in there. At least have it say I couldn't see anything or something, but it didn't. It just said, oh, there's more light coming from the crack now. Okay, great. That is absolutely not really helpful. Except that you told me I made progress, but otherwise, really not helpful. I don't know if I examined this particular wall here before, so just in case. Doesn't seem like anything special. Okay. Still nothing farther over this way, I take it? Yeah. Doesn't seem to be. Yeah, I don't really notice anything new looking over this way in the reflection. Okay. Let's go back to the basement one more time. See if there's something else I can figure out while we're there. There is this, but there's no icon of any kind for interacting, so I assume we don't do anything with that. No reason to go in the fuses. Already did earlier anyway, but there's no reason really to go to the fuses. Nothing special about the pipe that I missed, right? Or about that. One interesting boxes. It would be nice if there were more fuel of some kind, but what is... Oh, that's this, yeah. No, that's shutting. Okay. So that's shutting the door. Alright. All of that's that furnace. So there's no like... I was wondering if maybe there was like a top part here that I hadn't analyzed, but it looked like it's all the same description. So nothing new currently. This looks like it's an old fuse box also. Like it's not been used for a while. And that feeds light? Or something, yeah, the light. Okay. That's gonna be that, right? Yeah. I'm not seeing anything new in the basement. I don't imagine there's anything in here I want to use on the fuses. So that's probably not helpful. Nope. I don't see anything in the basement. Well, for the time being, I'm just about out of ideas. I'll take some time away and think about it, see if I can come up with something else to try. I'm really not sure. I'll go back up to that crack one more time. That's so weird that you could bust it, but then I guess you didn't bust it enough or something. That's very strange. I wouldn't have expected that to be. The wall had a wider crack now. When you try it again, it specifically says the wall was already broken. But I can't analyze, like I can't look where the light is. Is the light revealing something that I'm missing? I'm not seeing anything that the light's gonna shine on or whatever. I'm really not sure what the idea with that is. Try various things just to see. Didn't need to be oiled. Key makes no sense. Already tried the hammer. Key makes no sense. Key makes no sense. We'll try it anyway. Paper makes no sense either, really. We tried the board. It says it's not useful. No point to the pen, I assume. Stethoscope? Couldn't hear anything out of the ordinary. Knife, you're going to cut yourself. Or hurt yourself, whatever. No fuel. And if I try this directly, it says that there is that there is no fuel. It was clean enough. Yeah, that's the same reference to the mask. I don't know. I would have thought if this isn't going to open any farther, I would have thought that the extra light might reveal something, but I'm not seeing anything. Not even a magnifying glass for examining something. So that, I don't think that's it. I think we need either a sledgehammer or a pick or something to go farther with that. Which is strange. Why can't you just use the hammer again? If that's the case. I don't know what the point of these is either, if it's just for an extra view or not. But these open, and you can examine outside, but you don't end up seeing anything. So I don't know what that's supposed to be about either. I don't know. The second window. What are you talking about? Okay, so if we go back here, talking about not this one, but that up there. Doesn't seem to give me any kind of interaction, though. So if you can, maybe I need something else to do it first. Because I'm not seeing any way to reach it even. And this doesn't highlight at all. So you can't even use items. Yeah, I don't think you can interact with that at all right now. Oh, no worries. Yeah, I actually already thought of that previously. Although I wasn't thinking in terms of trying to move on now. But while I was opening the other windows previously, I tried to see if I could access that one, but it wouldn't really let me. We'll go back in here. I really don't think there's anything else in here we've not examined, but let me see if I go more slowly over areas. Maybe there's more I can do with some of this stuff. This, of course, at night is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be totally pitch black again, I'm sure. Well, I mean, maybe. If it's stormy like this, it probably will be, but maybe there'd be moonlight? I don't know. Or if there were flashes of lightning, of course, that would provide some light as well briefly. But I don't know if you'd really want to come in here in the middle of the night, though. So read the journal pages, read the letter. These are just journal pages, right? Oh, that's just zooming in. See, this would be useful if you could get fuel out of this, maybe. But apparently all the things with fuel are friggin' empty. Don't really see anything else. Just this mask that is a little bit creepy. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, well. Oh, combine the borer and the rag? Oh. Hadn't thought to do that. No. Use the hammer with the borer to hit it more? No. No, unfortunately, I've tried that, yeah. Before I found that kerosene, I tried this initially. This is oil like oiling your hinges so that they don't squeak. Or so that something that's rusty can turn or whatever. It's a different kind of oil. That kind of oil is... I think that kind of oil technically is either not really flammable or it's only flammable at a super high temperature. Yeah, machine oil. So it's not going to work. For this, we need something like kerosene or a similar fuel. Sewing machine oil? Yeah. That'd be machine oil, I'm assuming. I wonder if that other mask used to go here. And it started giving him serious nightmares, so he tried to tuck it away in that back room, like, well, just pretend like that's not around here. Unfortunately, that obviously doesn't work, really. This is a thing that I've not been able to do yet, but I feel like this is something I would need to do at some point. Something looked like a lion's claw was firmly attached to a necklace. I feel like I should be able to either do something while this is still on the necklace or get that claw off the necklace, but that, oops, that didn't work. That doesn't do anything. That was pointless. It's like, look, idiot, a hammer, really? No, when I go to the mask that's in the other room, it just lets me examine it. I can't actually pick it up. So I can't bring it back out here. Really don't know. You know, I didn't try the stethoscope in here. I had heard the scratching noises, and in that dream that I had last night, I had dreamt of this room. I wonder if I use the stethoscope on the mask. Probably not, but just so that I can have all my T's crossed and I's dotted. Nothing. I don't know. Okay. Well, I think we'll end that here tonight. I am not really coming up with anything new. So we'll... make sure it's saved. Storeroom, yep. Okay. Yeah, thanks for joining me. Until next stream, appreciate you guys supporting me as always. If you guys have suggestions going forward for additional streams as we get going further on, let me know. Of course, I'm not forgetting about the one going to the moon, Faux Fox. Anyway, tomorrow it'll be more Azurael Circle. Till then, peace.